So I've had some people ask me lately, they've told me, said, I understand that you want to be wise as a pastor and be cautious, but are you worried that your game plan to not reopen Grace Church on Sunday mornings until maybe 2021, are you worried that it might be kind of a fear-driven, fear-based plan? Not really a faith one. I've heard some of the other pastors and churches in the country are using this phrase, faith over fear. And, so I think it's a question that it's on some people's minds. And so I'll be as candid as I can about this. As a dad, as a husband, as a person, I am much more afraid of losing something that I spent my adult life building, this church, this faith community, right? As a dad and a husband, I am much more fearful of losing the income which pays the bills, which, keeps a home for my family. I'm afraid of losing that, much more afraid of losing that than I am of someone dying at Grace Church from the virus. And honestly, I'm almost ashamed to say that, because it's a very selfish place to be. But it's a reality. I've experienced that as great as individuals are, as a whole, Christians are very willing to switch churches quickly if you do not provide them what they want. And, we as Christians can be consumers sometimes and, put our consumption and things we want ahead of other things, other priorities. And so I'm pretty sure that this plan is going to cost us a lot of families going to other churches. And I'm afraid of that. That is where the fear is for me. Because again, if the butts aren't in the seats, if people aren't giving, well, guess what? There's still bills and a building and staff to pay, and then we have to start to cut back. And that's where the fear is for me. This plan, for me, is fully faith. Honestly. If I were going to cave into the fears that kind of haunt me at night, it would be to reopen this church immediately this Sunday, get the nursery back, get the kids' church back so people don't leave Grace Church, right? Because if everyone leaves and goes to other churches, what are we going to do? How are we going to pay the bills, right? That's where the fear is for me. But as a pastor who's committed his life to being faithful the best I can to the way of Christ and trying to lead people through a very uncertain time to things that I think that they need to protect them. And then, to also be an example in this community of what it looks like to love our neighbors. I cannot at this time commit to reopening this church full on Sundays. And I leave plenty of room for other churches and other pastors to make those decisions. It's up to them to kind of be faithful to the scriptures and the Spirit and what God's speaking to them. But no, I think if you would be realistic at all, you'd realize I have much more to lose. I have much more to be afraid of by keeping these doors closed on Sundays than I do of reopening. And so anyone who would say that our plan is fear-based just hasn't thought about it at all. This is us being faithful to the best of our ability, and we could be wrong. But all we can do is be as faithful as possible to following what God's saying to us and to our understanding of the scriptures. And that's exactly what we're going to do.